Here we go. We're live. How about that? So, welcome to the Black Watch and Ken show. Wait a minute. No, I must have seen that somewhere. Oh, in the chat. Okay. Wrong. That's not it. So, Jason Laster's with us, and I'm going to punch him up on here on Zoom. I can't see him right now, so I don't know if he's walked away from the chair. I hope he's back. So he's unmuted, and boom, there he is.
Yep.
Hello, Jason.
Hey guys.
You are here. How are you doing?
Well, been better, been worse. So another good day.
Okay. Been better, been worse. Just call it makes it overall a good day. So that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to take a quick look at chat because they've been chit-chatting back quite a bit. And I think
Yeah.
it's mostly just visiting between each other, but I'm going to bring it up on screen and just have a chance to say hello to everybody. You've already been active in chat, but I'm not entirely
Yeah.
sure that they know that. So there's Ken, hi, Blackwatch, Darren, Blackwatch Ken, chatting back and forth, Legend Project. So that is Jason, if anyone
Yep.
did
That'd be
not
me.
know that. Now, was that a new name for you? Because I don't remember seeing that before for you.
No, I think that's actually I think it's from one of our first videos, like the first one I think we did.
Yeah.
We had talked about it. That's where I've been posting videos on my own channel
Okay.
about different projects I'm doing.
All right.
So
All right. So this is mostly all chit chat back and forth between each other. And let's see, Darren was in already. Gary's here. Hi, Gary. And then Catherine's here. Hi, Catherine. And Gary and Dan the Man and the Menord. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So I'm going to come back here and let's see, I'm going to highlight that so I know where I'm at. And bring back up to full screen Zoom. So catch us up. It's been we missed 2 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, one was for 4th of July, and the other was you were out traveling, and we kind of were glad to have the extra time slot for Bertland's project. So, what do we need to know? What's going on?
All right. So, well, pretty much the 2 weeks, I didn't really get nowhere. We went on vacation, and the next week was just getting back into the groove. Just getting back to everyday life. And actually, this past weekend, I was talking to a friend of my brother's, and his company, the company that he works for, is looking to get rid of a bunch of their older PCs. So I texted him, and I'm like, hey man, how about you let me in on that? I can get a few of them and see what I can do with them. So I'm waiting on an answer on that. He's got to get with his IT guys at work, and they'll probably want to pull hard drives and stuff, which that's fine with me. I'll
Sure.
probably put new ones in there anyway. So, and that's have a very good potential. Well, there's a lot of potential there on getting some used PCs for me to refurbish, and it'll probably be tomorrow or so before I know an answer on that. And
Okay.
then I have this guy I already worked with before that had the mouse issue. Me and him's been chatting back and forth ever since then, and he's looking at here sometime soon on getting some parts for his PC for me to upgrade for him. So that's new. That's something else I'm looking forward to. He said within the next month or so. So, but the way he's talking, it's going to be sooner than that.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah. So I'm just waiting for the clock to tick on that.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Let me give, before I forget, I just had my phone rang at me to remind me to give an announcement is I'm planning a live stream for tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time with Chuck Riley. Chuck has been in a couple videos on my channel before, and he's got some issue. I don't know what it is, and so we're gonna do a live stream tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. So then, what did you want to go on to the question that you said you had for chat?
Well, it's kind of more like a two-parter question, and something that people keeps asking me, and well, one of them is compatibility with parts. Is I've been asked, well, how do you know what parts are the best compatible with each other? And it's more, because it's obviously more than just, putting a few parts together and expecting it to work. And some stuff I'm kind of like, well, I'm not 100% on, like when you're matching a CPU to a GPU, for the best performance for anything that you're doing. And the other question was software. How does software utilize your parts? And that I am not really certain on. I don't really know how software affect, how it utilizes your parts.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of like a vague thing. I'm still learning about the software side of stuff. So I'm not really I'm not to that point yet. So
okay.
How does software affect your PC? Basically.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty high level, broad question. So different software is going to be dependent more on different aspects of your computer, such as software that does a lot of file read and write, such as video editing software. The speed of your storage drive is going to have a lot of significance to that, and your video graphics card and your CPU. So video editing is very intense. Doing web browsing, if you're just going to read and interact with your email, that's not very challenging to a computer at all. But if you're streaming video, then we're interested in the speed of your processor and speed of your graphics capability and your resolution of your video. So that's a pretty broad question. We need to get more specific questions. But then when you asked about compatibility of parts with other parts, there's a significant amount that you can find just by just doing a Google search. Is such and such component, you put in the specifics of the component, compatible with something else? Or you may be out looking for a compatibility list for a particular motherboard to find out what CPUs or what RAM works with that. Of course, this is a whole area that Catherine is very up on, and I see in chat she's already offered that. But I got the impression you might have been talking about already existing parts, or maybe.
Well,
maybe
here's a good example. You go to the store and buy a standard desktop that has a i3 in it, and of course all the box is going to tell you is that it has an i3 in it. So, and the amount of spec info that you're going to get off the box and the instructions is going to have 8 gigs of RAM, an i3, 500 gig hard drive, or some of them will say SSD. And they're not going to, that's about all you're going to get out of it. So, as far as the box and the contents in the box. So, that's something I'm going to be trying to get into, trying to do is for people who does that, they just want to kind of do a little bit of upgrade just so it perform better. Because I know some of the guys I work with, they do 3D architecture to design stuff like trailers, buildings, etc. So and first thing I think of is graphics cards, but
quiet that thing down. Okay, continue.
So that would be the first thing that I would think of to do is to do something with the graphics, because you're going to need to be able to see, really clear what you're doing and how good it's going to come out on the screen. So, but as far as like trying to figure out what else it might need to help that out for like 3D architecture and stuff like 3D rendering. I've heard of that. I don't really know 100% what 3D rendering is, but kind of that route, getting this store-bought PC to perform better for such, for that kind of stuff.
Okay, so formulate for me, just right off the cuff here. This is a pop quiz. And maybe the chat even wants to reply to this pop quiz. How would you word a Google question for trying to find out what computer you should have for 3D architecture or design? Either way. Just think of a Google search for it.
Well, upgrading PC to handle 3D architecture.
Okay, reasonable. Now, if you started with that, you may get a prompt or a response from Google that says other people asked, and it will suggest different wording for that. So I'd be thinking something along the lines of specifications for 3D graphics, or specifications for 3D architecture software, recommended specifications for. So variety of ways that you could word it, but if you just start playing around with wording and Google search, you should find a lot of content along those lines. Let's take a little moment here and catch up with chat. I'm going to bring that back up on screen. I think you're actually watching the YouTube video today, aren't you? You have the YouTube video up, Jason?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there looking at them too.
All right, so let's see. So chit chat. Hellos, Blackwatch. Question to Ken: if you resolve the photo issue, I'm trying to remember what the photo issue was. He sent me an email. I think I'm wondering, did that fall through the cracks? Let's see. Hello's there from Catherine. More or less, we can still get together to figure out what transfer gets hung. Must have been regarding the photos. Blackwatch, please give this video a thumbs up. He's asking Catherine to do that. How about that? Catherine's offering her help too. Jason, done. I did. That would be one of my suggestions. Still be able to do a simple file copy off the phone. We'll discuss this afternoon. So it sounds like they're discussing that photo issue. Then why do we show 10 likes? Blackwatch is asking. Well, let's see. I see 18 viewers. I see 7 likes. Always SSD. No reason for HDD unless you're gaming and need the storage. I've got another reason for HDD. I have a second drive in my streaming computer that when my primary drive, the one that actually interacts with my streaming software, gets full, I want to move those files to longer term storage. And it occurred to me recently, I'd rather have a spinning hard drive for that because they're cheaper. I can get much larger amount of storage because I actually am operating off of 1 terabyte SSD, and that extra storage is also a 1 terabyte SSD. Well, when you get an SSD full, it doesn't perform as well. It's not a real good health thing for an SSD to just be full, and that's a storage offline use. I'm not really actively using it, so I really ought to put a much higher capacity spinning drive in there for that storage. So there are reasons to have a hard disk drive. Well, I guess Andy says unless you're gaming and need the storage. Well, what I was referring there to is storage, because that would be a second drive. But to actually primarily run off of it, which should be on SSD. However, I have lots of clients that have SSDs in their primary drives, and if I swap them out for an SSD, they don't notice the difference. Yes, the computer starts up faster, but they never start the computer, so they never notice that difference. So in their case, there's a reason against it because it's spending money. Why spend extra money if it's not going to give the user benefit? So a lot of times people that are the people that watch these type of YouTube videos, and this is something that I've heard Carrie say many times, don't really realize the economics and the reality of the business environment. So that's another reason. How about a mom quiz? I said pop quiz. So Gary's getting into the humor. Oh no, Black Watch is rubbing off on Gary. I'm in trouble. Catherine, no, you ask for the person what software they use and go for the site of, for example, Revit, and check CPU, RAM, and requirements. Okay. You ask for the person what software they use and what use they want to make of their computer. They might actually be looking for different software too. But yeah, the point there is really considering what does the person need to use, and then a site of, for example, Revit. So I'm guessing Revit might be a site that recommends computer configurations for specific software. That sounds good. I wasn't aware of that. I rarely come across the need to get that into the details. My clients say, we need a new computer, and I just order it.
Right.
I don't have to get into the specifics because I already know the clients. Sorry, CAD as opposed to what? CAD is specialized. You probably need to build those by the time you upgrade an existing box. You just spend as much money. That sounds valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah.
Although there are computers that are in a class that's referred to as workstation, that factory manufacturers have designed for that. But still, if you're open to building the computer, that's fine. I did have a client that was an architecture client, and they specifically wanted to be buying factory built computers, and they turn them over now and then. They want them to have the consistency and the major name support behind them and the documentation from the CAD software that recommends that particular model computer. Depends upon the customer for demands that we use. AutoCAD or CAD-AM. You just confirm my opinion. You need as storage, as I said. Yes, I think was he the one that I was kind of said it in a way that I sounded like I was taking exception to what he's saying, but I was really agreeing to what he said. AutoCAD is the only one that I'm aware of. Oh, there's other CAD programs. AutoCAD is just, I think, the leading or most well-known. CAD-AM needs mainframe to punch it up, Ford like SolidWorks. Okay.
So that's I want to be researching all that. So
Okay.
First of all, SolidWorks, CAD-AM. I have no idea what those are, so I'm gonna be looking them up. And
All right.
hang on, what mainframe to punch? What does that mean? Mainframe to punch it up.
Well, mainframe computer, I don't have any clients using those. I don't have any background with them. Mainframe is, of course, what my vision of them is back in the older days. You have a great big huge air-conditioned room with computers in it, and now the only place I know of that is server farms. So yeah, I'd be questioning, what do you mean mainframe to punch it up? Now, that's coming from Blackwatch, so I don't know if that was a serious comment or a joke. It could be serious, but CAD software, I have clients who use CAD software. They use them on standalone workstations. I'm hard pressed to imagine how being connected to a mainframe, and even what do you call what is a mainframe these days?
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of an odd comment. And Gary says, with Dell computers, we get service the next day. Yeah, so I have had clients where we have had a high priority Dell service plan, and it's been really good. And when you're in a large environment, lots of computers, you really don't want to have one-off custom-built computers all around the space that all have a little bit of differences. Having standardization in a large environment is really important. And the major manufacturers do have high-end, powerful computers for that. You're going to order those computers directly from them. You're not going to buy them off of Amazon. Let's see, I guess if I'm reading off chat, I should bring chat up on the screen. Catherine responds, AutoCAD Revit. AutoCAD Revit, so is for building houses, for planning structures, steel structures. So I wonder if Rev is like as in revision, so to where you make changes as you go along. So that's particularly a software. AutoCAD will you on a PC? Blackwatch, AutoCAD will you on a PC? Not sure. IBM AS400 is a mainframe, I believe. Okay, yes, but I have no awareness what it would. So that runs on. I'm trying to think of that operating system. It was before Linux even got popular. I thought of it as a precursor to Linux. Somebody's going to answer what operating system they typically run on. So are you really connecting a PC to a mainframe to improve the performance of AutoCAD? Blackwatch says serious, Doug. So his comment was serious about using a mainframe to punch it up. Okay, I'm going to have to research this. This is a hilarious video. I can't play somebody else's video here, so that's just for you in chat to go look at if you have a mind to. I ran mainframes at aircraft company. Okay. Catherine, about a young guy buying a mainframe. Oh, it's a hilarious video about a young guy buying a mainframe. That does sound entertaining. Let's see. So I'm gonna go. I'll right click on that and copy link address, and I'm gonna go put it in another tab, and I'll catch it afterwards. Control V to paste, and then be ready to pause it right away. It's already silenced, and then it'll bring me back to us here. Gary to Jim, I wrote a community college textbook for AS400 back in the day. Oh, okay, cool. Gary's answering no about something.
Okay, will not run a mainframe.
Yeah, certainly won't run on a mainframe, but if you're connecting a PC to a mainframe to punch it up, as he said, where was that? So I can't find it, so I'm gonna press Control F and type the word punch. There it is. CAD-AM needs mainframe to punch it up. And Blackwatch says he's being serious about that. However, like the boy who cried wolf, even when Blackwatch tells me he's being serious, I'm not totally convinced. And I know you're not going to be offended by that, Blackwatch. I think you know that you take that risk when you just do so much humor. $1 million AS400 can be bought for about $250. Mainframe storage. Yeah, still, even Gary's not affirming a mainframe for anything. All right, bringing you back up on Zoom. What else do we have to talk about, Jason?
Well, it was, just that on my side. Yeah.
Okay, well, I got a question that came in by email. Do you want to try tackling it?
Sure.
All right. Let me go pull it up. Let's see. How do I want to do this? I think I want to conceal this person's name. And now, is this good here? Okay, so here we go. So this is be a question for you and for chat. And it's, on all fairness, it might be not quite, you may not be quite ready for it, but let's throw it at you and throw it at chat and see what we get. Punching over here. So here's the email, and I'm gonna move our picture-in-picture. Doug, I enjoyed watching you fix the all-in-one HP computer. Do you recommend the magnifying headset? Does it have a light? Did you get it on Amazon? So that's this guy. I'll go ahead and talk about this first. Does it have a light? No, it does not. And I don't think I would buy one with a light because I've got clamp-on lights and flashlights, and I just never feel a need for it. Would I recommend it? Well, it depends upon if you have a need for it, because usually I don't use a handheld magnifying glass, but I will often use my cell phone to take a picture up close and then zoom in on the picture. But if I need to work around inside of a computer, or I'm looking for small text, I really do like that. And I don't know where I bought it from. It may have been Amazon. And then also I demonstrated, I think during that same video, using my webcam. These webcams, I can focus them to be really, really close to an object. But then here's the question he's got. I have a question. I have a Lenovo ThinkCentre M800 desktop running Windows 10 Pro 21H1. Recently, it now takes over 10 minutes to do a reset or a shutdown. I did a scratch reload, but it still does the same thing. After watching this video, that would be the one that I was repairing, that all-in-one, I wonder if I should do a BIOS reset. What do you think? So, Jason, you're first up to bat. What do you think?
So it seems like I had a similar issue before with the hard drive that I had that I got off somebody. It came with the deal. It came with the deal I got on some parts. And I was like, well, I want to put this hard drive in, and it was a SSD is what it was. And I was like, well, I'm going to see if this SSD works. Well, it was every bit of what he's describing, plus it wouldn't hardly load nothing or anything like that. So we turned to find out it was a bad hard drive, but or SSD, I should say. But that would be probably the first thing that I'm wondering is maybe how old is this PC, and does it have a HDD or an SSD in it? So, because of the experience that I have, so maybe it could be a innate hard drive issue, because I've experienced where hard drive would cause it to not like load or reload or shut down properly. So that would be my first guess.
Okay.
So, and as far as a BIOS reset, I guess you could do a BIOS reset, but I don't see how that would. Right now I don't know how that would affect it loading or shutting down or anything, because it runs off its own chipset. So don't have any really much to do with Windows that I know of. But it is worth a shot. I haven't seen BIOS do too much on booting issues or shutting down issues.
Okay, so along the lines of suspecting the storage drive, whether it's spinning or SSD, what would you do as a next step to try to figure out if that has a problem?
I would probably swap out the hard drive with the known good one that already has Windows 10 on it, and see how it runs then. And if that seems to do better, that would kind of tell me, hey, it might be the hard drive going bad in it.
Okay.
Because I actually just pulled up the specs on this PC, and it does have a HDD in it, and those are they're their lifespan is not as great as an SSD. So,
Sure.
and that's the only one that seems to come up here on my side for it.
Yeah.
So that'd be the first thing I'd tackle, is probably upgrade it to an SSD and see how that does.
Okay. Okay.
So
So let's say that's pretty good. We got a little bit more in the chat that is worth adding to that. But I love that you went straight for the storage drive, the boot drive. So here we
that
got.
has a lot to do with flow times and restart and all that. You know, I mean,
Yeah, but he wasn't complaining about restart. He was complaining about shutdown. Well, he did say reset. All right, so I guess he is saying restart. Takes over 10 minutes to do a reset or shut down. So I'm gonna say that he probably meant restart or shut down. Now, when a computer is shutting down, or when you click on the start button, power, and then choose restart, it has to close files that are on the hard drive. So it is shutting down files. So
maybe he's running a bunch of programs at one time when he's going to shut it down, and it's taking it 10 minutes to close all those programs down.
Yeah.
So that could be probably the first thing trying is making sure that all the programs and stuff that's running are actually closed out before shutting down. See if that helps.
Yeah.
So
what I would read between the lines here, I would be suspecting that that's probably already covered. And when he's and this might be a preconceived notion on my part, but I'm just of the presumption, and I've observed my clients do this, that most people shut down all their programs and then they click to shut down the computer. That may not be the case, but the symptom that rings a bell of familiarity for me is that particularly when he's saying recently, it takes over 10 minutes to do a reset or shutdown, is that with all programs closed and you go to the Windows the Windows button in the bottom left corner, choose power and choose shutdown, takes over 10 minutes, that is drivers and operating system files and whatever it is that are shutting down. There is an amount of time involved in that, and if the hard drive is faulty, then it could be doing some retries to make that happen. And then when he says he did a scratch reload, I'm assuming that means he did a fresh Windows install, deleted the existing partition so that a new partition was created and therefore formatted, as opposed to installing Windows on top of the existing where you can keep programs and files. You can choose either to keep them or delete them, because that method doesn't delete the partition, and therefore you're not getting a fresh format. And the BIOS reset, I'm on the same page with you that I don't see that as doing any good. That's going to affect startup. It's not really going to affect shutdown, as far as I know. So let's come over here and look at chat. Let's see. Is the SSD faulty? Bad HDD, most likely. So everybody's going this direction. SSD might be full. I suppose that could be a cause
Very
of that.
possible of that.
Yeah.
So it could just be needing more storage.
Yeah, probably. Now, actually, I don't buy this. If he said he did a fresh install, so the SSD wouldn't be full.
That tells me right there, or the HDDs. What that tells me is I had a similar issue to that before on an SSD. That that was telling me about did fresh install Windows on it. Same scenario. It's what I got on my experience.
Okay.
So
depends on how many apps running in the tray. Okay, so the system tray in the bottom right corner of it, because if you close all your programs and then you go to do a shutdown, well, it's got to dispense with all of those programs that are running in the system tray. And I've seen some computers that actually fail to shut down And then I've gone to the user's desk or connected to their computer remotely. I just did this a few days ago. I connected remotely to the client's computer, and they're describing a symptom having to do with, this was Dragon Naturally Speaking, that they went to restart the computer and Dragon Naturally Speaking would not shut down. And so I had the impression that he eventually got the computer shut down and restarted, but not the case, because when I moved the mouse down to the bottom right corner and just floated over the icons in the system tray, a couple of them disappeared, which tells me that there was a shutdown command that had not completed yet. And he just continued using the computer when it failed to shut down. So yeah, the application is running in the system tray. Now, if this person did a fresh install of Windows 10 and right away, without installing any other software, he still has that same symptom, then I don't think apps in the tray are going to be an issue because he's got a fresh install.
It's not going to show that.
Yeah, so then M800 is getting long in the tooth, M.2, then more memory. Does it have SSD? Yeah, we don't know if this computer has an SSD, and so the model of the computer, he's saying a little bit old, yeah. M.2, is he suggesting put an M.2 in it and more memory rather than checking the condition of the drive? I don't know. Does it have an SSD? So now when somebody asks a question like this, we get hit with a tech support question. This email came to me. I haven't asked them any qualifying questions. So if we're going to respond with a question, I would rather respond with, well, if it's an SSD, then such and such and so. If it's a HDD, then such and so. Rather than sending an email back asking, is it SSD or HDD? And they've given them absolutely no information at that point. All you've done is ask them another question. And I've seen some of the online tech support where it's on a website based, where somebody comes in and asks a question, and the volunteer technician responds to it with a question that contains no helpful information. They're asking, what CPU does it have? Or what drive does it have? And when the person answers, I've seen the technician respond again with another question. Still nothing helpful. So what I like to see from the person that's operating on the technician side is, if you have a question for the user, try to ask that question with some information. Wording it such as, well, if it's at SSD, then such and so. You don't have to go into a whole lot of detail. Just kind of give the drift. And if it's an HDD, then such and so. So that the person on the other end is now educated a little bit more about why that makes a difference. Because a lot of times I've seen the person on the technician side ask a question that, in my opinion, was totally irrelevant. And the follow-up never actually made it relevant. It's kind of like they're just trying to get you to come back to the website. Of course, that's how the websites earn money, by you coming back to the website and seeing more advertisements displayed. Run Crystal Disk Info will also tell you what condition. This is beautiful. This is really the response I want to see. Crystal Disk Info. It's going to tell you about the condition of the hard drive. It's just going to tell you right away if the drive is reporting some kind of a defective condition. So this is much quicker than swapping out the drive for another one, or even reformatting it. Crystal Disk Info is a free download, and it's really quick and easy way to do it. You want to download, I believe Crystal Disk Info has a portable version rather than installing it. Sam, I had a faulty SSD last year. It would blue screen of death or black screen of death, whichever that one is. The only fix I had was to start again with a new SSD. Yeah, if the SSD is, well, okay, some people aren't going to like me for saying this. Do I dare? Steve Gibson's SpinRite program. Some people don't like Steve Gibson and SpinRite because of the misperception, but in partly due to fault of Steve, but others too, of treating it or thinking of it as a data recovery software similar to $300 data recovery. And that's not what it is at all. I'm sorry, this is getting very distracting. If there are files that are on a damaged portion of the drive or a weak portion of the drive that are critical to the operating system, and you're not actually trying to recover deleted files or an accidentally reformatted hard drive, then the SpinRite can be a really good way to recover that damaged piece. But it is absolutely not a substitute for the type of work that $300 data recovery does. It's a totally different type of recovery. Now, the SpinRite that currently exists isn't really reliable for SSDs, but the new version that's coming out is going to be. But starting with new SSD is certainly a valid way to go. And it actually, and depending upon circumstances, if your data files are safe, that's probably the quicker, cheaper, more reliable way to go. The SSD would not be SOD, not me or I. Sam saying the SSD would be SOD, not me or I. Okay. Shutdown, it is a runnings program, then. Does he continue that? Is he using? Gary, shut down his running programs, then the computer, I guess. Blackwatch, okay, just who raised the Yankee Go Home 10-foot band? I don't know. Download Crystal Disk Mark info. Gives information about drive health. Absolutely. Is he using power button or shut down Windows? He may have a virus. Well, he said that he did a fresh install, presumably fresh install of Windows. So that's going to eliminate the virus. I did a scratch reload. If we're accurately assuming that means he did a fresh format and install of Windows, that's going to take care of the virus situation. Someone could have already replaced the hard drive with an SSD. Yeah, that's true. It could have an SSD in it. If you have to get a new SSD, get a Samsung. I do like Samsungs a lot, but I've used other brands too and not really opposed to it. I get requests to clone from hard drive to SSD in old machines from time to time. I've done a lot of that. Task Manager to see what's running. I'm running 260 processes right now. Hard drive may be failing. Crystal Disk Info. Jim all the time. 6th gen. Suspect it's original hard drive, which means hard drive is likely 5 years old. Lifespan of a hard drive. I've had lots go longer than that, but still, it's just I've had hard drives.
Common.
Yeah, I've had hard drives go bad in the first year. So if you have symptoms implying that the hard drive is bad, then Crystal Disk Mark info. Okay, then Mr. Funseeker, see you later. He's got to go. In the company, we have a handful of SSDs. The rest are HD and storage servers, M.2, and user laptops. If it does not have an M.2, put one in. It will be faster. It'll be faster for certain things. It'll be faster for startup. If he does file operations, it'll be faster. If he's doing general web browsing and word processing, he's probably not going to notice the difference. Crystal Disk Info, Iron Wolves, Lost Sound. Oh.
Yeah.
That's
for about 30 seconds. I blocked like I couldn't hear you. Like it.
Oh.
Just went away, and then it came back.
I thought you had muted your microphone because your kids were getting pretty active there for a little bit,
No.
and then all of a sudden they stopped. So I thought that's what was going on. Who keeps giggling at me? Steve's programs is great. Okay, so Gary's like Steve's programs. Giggling ankle bite. Oh, the giggling, Blackwatch giggling. He's referring to your kids. He wants to interact with your kids. Depending on the importance of the data on the SSD, sometimes data recovery companies can recover it if you're willing to pay the price. Yeah, absolutely. And I did go through that once with an office where their server drive had crashed and they didn't have backups. And it cost $2,500, something like that, I think. Bad SSD cables. I haven't heard that one as anything common, but I suppose it could be. He may have done restore within Windows. Yeah, so restore, if he's referring to a scratch reload as a system restore, then that's not going to be much at all. See, we really don't know what does he mean by a scratch reload. I don't know him well enough to know that. But I'm going to reply to his email letting him know that we discussed this issue during this video. That's the way I'm replying to his question. Because when somebody sends me a technical question over email, that's not really what I'm offering with my channel as far as doing one-on-one tech support over email or phone or anything. It's to put the content out there for use by other people. That's where I'm offering that free. And it's absolutely fine for somebody to send me a question like that, but it's going to get answered. I want to answer those questions over on a live stream video or a recorded video, something like that. Catherine says, but if the virus lurks in RAM, he would not have eliminated the virus. That's a hard one to buy. RAM is volatile memory. Everything in RAM gets lost when you restart the computer. So if you were to say if the virus was a boot sector virus, there's another word for that, bootloader virus. There's another word for that level of virus that does not get cleared out by virtue of reformatting. Yeah, but RAM, that one doesn't make sense to me. RAM gets eliminated when you restart the computer. Nick Tao, if you're lucky, HDs go read only before failing completely.
Which might be the cause.
Well, yeah, when you're shutting down a computer, Windows operating system needs to be able to write information to the drive. If the drive is read-only, then that certainly would be an additional explanation. Darren says you should have a backup. Rootkit. Thank you, William. That's the other word I was looking for. Rootkit. Yeah, because if you reformat the C drive and reinstall Windows from scratch, that's not going to clean out a rootkit. I've never had a personal experience with a rootkit on a computer. HD usually go bad all at once. M.2 will write until it dies. You can still read it. Let's see. Usually go bad all at once. M.2. Yeah, that's not been my experience. I've come across computers that are sluggish and been able to diagnose them as a bad hard drive and replace that. Not all at once. So my experience is different than what Nick Tao's is. And overall, worldwide, statistically, what the numbers are, I don't know. It could be that is right. It's just not been my personal experience. Boot sector writes to RAM on boot up. Yeah, certainly. Okay, so is that an explanation? Is that a defense of Catherine's comment? Maybe it is. If the virus lurks in RAM, he would not have eliminated the virus. Okay, so if a rootkit or boot sector virus was there every time you start the computer, that's back in RAM. So that would justify the statement lurks in RAM. Okay, I get that. Memtest 86 for testing the memory. Yeah. Memory resident virus is a virus located in the memory of a computer even after the host application or program has stopped running. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's like it's kind of similar to the terminology we used to have of TSR, terminate and stay resident. But that's not going to survive a reformat of the hard drive unless there's a rootkit. Because this is assuming that the computer is still running. May depend on file system. I'm not sure what that's in response to. Does the PC have an SSD or mechanical drive? We don't know that. So at this point, we're answering the question either way. We're saying if it has an SSD, then this. If it has a mechanical drive, then this. So we don't know. There are check and cleaning programs on the internet, certainly. Shutdown with power button takes longer than shutdown from Windows. Well, you can configure what the power button does in advanced power settings. And there's a hybrid shutdown. By default, Windows 10 does a hybrid shutdown. It actually stores the system configuration in a hibernation file, and it unloads the user profile information. That's what Windows 10 does by shutdown, by default. You can turn that off, and it's turning off a feature called fast shutdown. Let's see, how far behind am I? Well, I don't have the arrow, so I'm pretty close. So let's go look at that. Let's see, I think it is advanced power. Power and sleep options. And then additional power settings. I choose what the power buttons do. Right here, turn on fast startup. So if you turn this off, right now I can't remove those check marks, but if I come up here and click on this change settings that are currently unavailable, now I have these check marks. So this one is doing a hybrid shutdown. So because fast startup is on, what that does is when you shut down, it stores the system profile as in the hibernate file as though you're doing a hibernation, but it's shutting down or unloading the user profile portion. If you remove this check mark, then when you do a shutdown, it's going to unload everything. Now, ironically, when you have this check mark selected, particularly if you have a spinning hard drive, that means the shutdown is going to be slower because it's actually writing to the hard drive. If you remove this check mark so that you don't get fast startup, your shutdown is going to be faster because it's just unloading everything, shutting down. Okay, so then let's go back and see where we're at. Well, actually, let's go a little bit further there. Let's do, when I press the power button, it does a shutdown. Or it can do a hibernate, or it can do a sleep, or it can do nothing. Or it can turn off the display. So you can configure what the power button does on a shutdown. Now, if you're, let's see, this fast startup. See, I haven't tested this or researched it, but I'm assuming that if you have this check mark on and you do this style of shutdown, where when you press the power button, you get a shutdown, that ought to be the same as clicking on the Windows button, clicking on power, and then shutdown. I haven't tested that. I think Gary's saying that there's a difference there. From what I found by Googling the PC, it comes with HDD, but we don't know the history of the PC. Right. Yes, it does, unfortunately. That's responding to something. Is she denying what I said? Yeah, she's denying what I said. Okay, well, I'm going to have to move on. That cleans the rootkits. I'm sorry, data is data. Try it. Take care. He's saying to try something. I'm too far behind to know what he's referring to. Can't get to window, have to run from operating system. Well, yeah, that's talking between them. Fast shutdown still waits for all programs to close. Yes, certainly it does. because fast shutdown versus not fast shutdown is just, it's a distinction between the operating system files. Some programs run in DOS. Shut off hibernate, not needed. Yeah, I do disable hibernate on client computers. I don't bother with mine because it doesn't really give me any benefit. Some PCs you can set what the power button does. Well, you do that right here. It's Windows 10. It's not some PCs. You can configure that for any computer. I'm not aware that that's dependent on the computer itself. Laptop's off at night. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop with the chat at that point, and because I'm getting close to my deadline. Do you have anything more to add, Jason?
No, I think that's definitely a lot that I got out just a couple questions. So yeah, so
I saw your mute button there.
yeah, that's
Actually, I
think
think we got through okay with the kids. If you're contemplating that, I think it was okay on my side. Kids have a better microphone than you do. Yeah, the microphone's more responsive to them. Sounds like you're responding to that. I'm waiting to see what you got there.
Yeah, they
all right.
Full blast.
Yeah. Kids are great fun. All right, well, let's say goodbye then. And
right.
Are we tentatively on for next week?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Yeah, I was on the wrong screen there. All right, so goodbye everybody in chat. Thank you for being with us. And we'll see you next week. So I'm just going to go ahead and end the Zoom session, and then I'll put up my email address. So goodbye, kids. Oh, they can't hear me because you got the earpiece in.
Yeah.
All right.
They say bye.
Here we go. Goodbye. Okay, so here, let's get back to this screen. Well, come on, respond to me. There it is. And here comes the email address. If you want to reach out to me anything, or if you want to send in a question that we'll respond with on in another live stream. And I think it's awesome the way the chat room participates in this. A lot of smart ideas and smart people there, and the times when we have little disagreements, we get past them and we can still be friends anyway. So there's DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining.com. Once again, everybody, thank you for being here. Hope that was useful. See you later. Goodbye.